So with the NFL free agency right around the corner and legal tampering beginning this coming Monday, I think everyone would agree that the Green Bay Packers need to address the safety position. For me, this is the Packers' position of most need, and also a position that has a lot of good talent in this upcoming free agent class. The Green Bay Packers are set to let 3 safeties walk in this upcoming free agency, including Darnell Savage, John Owens, and Rudy Ford, 2 of which were starters most of the entire season. The Packers roster now at safety has 7th round draft selection from 2023 Anthony Johnson Jr., undrafted free agent Benny Sapp, and a free agent signing from last year Zane Anderson, who is basically just a special teamer. So the Packers have a glaring hole at this safety position. And the safety position is a very big need for this upcoming Packers defense. We keep hearing it. We keep hearing Jeff Hafley talk about it. He talked about a post safety in his opening press conference with the Green Bay Packers. And right now, that guy is not on the roster. So today, I'm going to go over the free agent signing and something that the Green Bay Packers need to do this Monday when legal tampering opens. It has been said that Brian Gutekunst and the Green Bay Packers are expected to be active in the free agent market. There are good players in this free agency class, and certainly we are going to be in the mix on some of those things. It was just 5 years ago, the second year of Brian Gutekunst as general manager of the Green Bay Packers, that at the start of free agency, he went out and signed Adrian Amos, Preston Smith, Zadarius Smith, Mercedes Lewis, and Billy Turner. So Brian Gutekunst definitely could go out here and sign a couple free agents to start this free agency to round out this roster. And right now, the Green Bay Packers have $13.6 million in cap space, and they should gain more in the coming days before the start of free agency or during free agency when they figure out what they need to do with Aaron Jones's contract. Also, they can adjust Kenny Clark, Jair Alexander, and Elton Jenkins' contract to clear up more space as well to add some free agents. Now, the player I'm talking about and the thing that I believe the Packers need to do at the start of free agency is go out and sign Xavier McKinney, most recently with the New York Giants. Yesterday, it was announced that the Giants will not use a tag, franchise, or transition on safety Xavier McKinney, and that he will become a free agent. The talk the last couple of weeks is that the Giants were going to put a transition tag on Xavier McKinney, and although he was in my safety free agent video, that hope kind of went away from me. The thought that the Packers would have a shot at signing Xavier McKinney, because to me, he is the best option at safety in this upcoming free agency class. And now that he's going to be on that market, this is something the Packers need to do to transform this defense for Jeff Hafley. Not to mention, Packers' new defensive pass game coordinator this year, Derek Ansley, was the defensive backs coach for Alabama from 2016 to 2017. Who played at Alabama in those 2 years and who got recruited the year Derek Ansley was the defensive back coach? Xavier McKinney. Also, Xavier McKinney's agent is David Mulugeta from Athletes First. Who else is one of David Mulugeta's clients? None other than Jordan Love, who the Green Bay Packers are going to be obviously working with this offseason to give a long-term extension. So they're going to already be working with this agent, so why not just double dip, go sign Xavier McKinney this free agency to a long-term extension, and then in May, do the same thing to Jordan Love after you've already had some rapport with this agent. All right, so now I want to dive down into the type of player Xavier McKinney is, go over some of his stats, and explain to you guys why I think he would be the perfect safety in this Packers defense. But first, I want to let you guys know that today's video is being sponsored by none other than BetUS.
BetUS, America's favorite sportsbook and casino. Live betting and racebook. We're celebrating 30 years with a historic offer, a 125% sign-up bonus on your first 3 deposits, plus 10% gambler's insurance. Get started today. BetUS, where the game begins.
You heard that right. You can get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,500. BetUS also has 24/7 great customer service and 24-hour payouts. And right now on BetUS, there's a lot of different NFL future bets you can partake in. I like to place my bets on the 2024 season right around this mark because you can get really good odds, such as the Green Bay Packers winning the NFC North at plus 230 right now. They are not the favorite to win the NFC North. That is the Detroit Lions at plus 155. And somehow the Bears are only a little bit behind the Packers at plus 350, which is complete blasphemy. They don't even know who their quarterback is right now. Yeah, it's going to be Caleb Williams, but has yet to take a snap in the NFL. So if you want to get in on this and you want to bet on the Green Bay Packers winning the NFC North next season, which I see happening, head over to BetUS with the link down in the description. Use code JOIN125 and get a 125% deposit bonus on your first 3 deposits. Thank you to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. So now let's take a look at Xavier McKinney. So Xavier McKinney is 25 and a half years old. He'll be turning 26 in August, so still a very young player and a great talent that is hitting free agency. This doesn't happen often, and there's a lot of safeties that are. Yesterday, the franchise tag was placed on Antoine Winfield. I know he was a lot of people's safety number 1, which I would agree. And I thought this would be coming the franchise tag. And the same goes for Xavier McKinney, but it is pretty wild that that's not the case. So Xavier McKinney, 6 foot, 201 pounds, obviously, as we mentioned, from Alabama in that 2020 draft, a second-round draft pick to the New York Giants. Looking over his grades over the last 4 seasons, as a rookie, he only saw 211 snaps, but still had a 70.0 grade. Then he became a starter in 2021, jumped up to a 75.4. In 2022, kind of a down year and an injured year, only 681 snaps and a low grade, or average grade, should I say. That's still average at 61.2. Then in 2023, Xavier McKinney became one of the best safeties in the NFL. He played for 1,128 snaps, had an 87.8 defensive grade, an 89.1 tackle grade, and a 91.2 coverage grade. When we look at his coverage stats here on the screen, he was targeted 54 times, had 33 receptions, allowed a reception percentage of 61.1%, 288 yards, a very low yards per reception of 8.7 yards. He allowed 0 touchdowns, had 3 interceptions, 3 pass breakups, and only allowed a quarterback rating of 52.1. Another important thing to note here, if you look at his alignment snap counts, at free safety, he played 464 snaps. So he can be that single high safety that the Packers are looking for, but also be a guy that you can drop down into the box and play with his hair on fire, as Jeff Hafley loves to say. 388 snaps in the box to come up and help against the run, where he was a very, very good tackler. He made 94 total tackles with only 7 missed. That is an extremely low missed tackle rate of 5.7%. We Packers fans need a safety like this. We have been used to so many years of different safeties in and out of the green and gold that constantly just can't tackle. They constantly are flying down the field but can't wrap up a player. Xavier McKinney can definitely wrap up. Looking at overall PFF grades around the league at safety, we could see how highly he was graded at safety. Antoine Winfield, as we just talked about, was the number 1 graded safety at a 90.7. Then you also have Jesse Bates and Javon Holland. Xavier McKinney was 4th best in the NFL with that 87.8. But he's actually the highest graded tackling safety in the NFL with that 89.1, and also the highest graded cover safety in the NFL, that 91.2. It's not often that you see both of these grades, tackling and covering, being the number 1 safety in the NFL. If you sort it by lowest missed tackle rate percentage, Xavier McKinney has the lowest at that 5.7% mark. Then we see Kevin Byard at 5.9, and then it jumps way up to over 7% for all other safeties in the NFL. He was the most secure tackling safety in the NFL easily this year. Jeff Hafley, during his press conference, mentioned a lot of different traits for what he wants in a safety for his defense.
What traits are you looking for in the post safety?
I want a guy who can erase things. We got to eliminate explosive plays when we play this defense. So if a run hits up the middle, this guy's got to come out of the middle field with his hair on fire. He's got to be able to get a guy down. I also want him to be a guy, when a ball carrier's wrapped up, he goes and he finishes off the pile. I want a guy who can go from sideline to sideline and take the ball away. I think that position has to be a guy with high ball production, meaning he's got to be able to intercept the ball. He's got to be a guy that can communicate. And he's got to be a guy that can get guys lined up and make some calls back there. And I'd love a guy who can play man, so I guess I'm describing the perfect player to you. But those are some of the traits that I would look for in playing that position.
And guys, all of those things he just said, I think correctly depicts Xavier McKinney. It's asking a lot. All of those things he said, as he mentioned, I kind of just depicted the perfect safety. And I think Xavier McKinney is that as of right now. Now, you might be asking, can the Green Bay Packers afford Xavier McKinney? How much is he gonna cost? So bringing up his calculated market value on Spot Track, it is right now at $10.4 million average annual salary. We see his market value would be a 5-year deal at $52.4 million average annual salary at 10.4, which would rank as the 8th highest paid safety in the NFL. I think that is a very manageable price for someone of McKinney's caliber. Now, could McKinney hit the free agent market and get more than this, say $12 to $13 million annually? Yes. And should the Packers still pay that? Yes. The Packers have money to play around with, and they have a desperate need at the safety position. If they were to sign McKinney to a 5-year, $50-60 million deal, his cap hit in 2023 isn't going to be $12, $13, $14 million. It's going to be somewhere around $7 to $8 million because everyone backloads contracts. And I know some people don't like backloading contracts, but it simply makes sense from a booking standpoint. The NFL salary cap is continuing to go up more and more and more every year. So why would you take on bigger cap hits earlier rather than later when the cap hit's going to be higher and it's going to be taking either the same or less percentage of your total salary cap, even if it's higher in the later ends of the contract? So it just makes sense to backload things. So that's why you might see this $10.4 million and go, oh, well, the Packers can't take a $10.4 million cap hit for this season. Well, it wouldn't be that. It wouldn't be that if they signed him to a long-term extension. It would be very manageable, and you'd get a top-tier safety that you desperately need in this defense for Jeff Hafley. Now, there are other free agent options at safety for the Green Bay Packers, such as Cameron Curl, Jordan Fuller, and Julian Blackmon. So if the Packers do end up missing out on Xavier McKinney, which I don't think they should pass this up, there's still tons of different free agent safety options. This is like the most loaded free agent safety class I've seen in a very long time, and it's at the perfect time for the Green Bay Packers. But I want to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Who is your favorite safety out of this free agency class? If it's Xavier McKinney, how much would you value him at? How much would you be comfortable with the Packers paying for him as a free agent? Hopefully that happens this coming Monday. Hopefully we get the report that comes out that the Packers have agreed to a contract with Xavier McKinney. That would just be amazing news this coming Monday. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. I appreciate you guys coming out to the video. If you could, please leave a like down below. It supports the channel a ton. But I'll catch you on the next one. And as always, go Pack Go.